So the second part of the chapter forum was something called speed greening. And this is where we had the chance, five of us attended this part of the chapter forum, and we had a chance to meet with representatives from a variety of USGBC departments and chapters, and we could on 5 different topics. So we had conversations for 20 minutes each. My 5 topics that I covered, or I went to, was I wanted to meet with Richard Graves, who's the Senior Vice President of Community and Education for USGBC. He kind of handles chapter land. Fund development, obviously, because I'm trying to raise a bunch of funds for this Sustainability Resource Center. Branches, because we are growing a number of branches this year, hopefully, with the chapter in other counties. Marketing and communications, which is always something we can improve on, as well as green schools. So that was my 5 topics. With Richard Graves, he talked about actually somebody from Cascadia chapter talked about how there was very little connection between USGBC and the branch level. So that was something I kept a note of, and I want to work on when we go to the branch level, or as we expand our branch level. They're getting ready to get rid of their extranet and move on to something more powerful, so that was kind of good news. And he said, we talked a lot about kind of governance and engaging volunteers and the importance of clear instructions. So it was general discussion. A lot of different people were at the table kind of sharing their experiences. With fund development, this was led by Lisa Carter, who's a wonderful executive director for the state of Georgia. And, she was talking about with big funders, they want to know it's more about legacy with them and transformation of what they believe in. So if it's sustainability, how do they move the sustainability mission forward? But she encouraged all boards every year to discuss what programs are fundable and what does this chapter want to be known for 20 to 30 years from now, and then build a major fundraising campaign around that. So they're doing it in Georgia chapter around their Green Schools campaign. They have specific outcomes. They're cultivating in-person figure, figuring out what triggers people, and they've already raised $500,000. They are doing not only greening specific schools, but they're doing scholarship for school facility people. They are funding to offset certification if that's ever a problem. They're clearly delineating goals for energy efficiency and figuring out the obstacles within each school. So far, they've done 11 schools, and 7 schools are in the pipeline. At one point, apparently, consultants were not doing their kind of lead documentation, and the school system was about to bail on lead. And she's like, "Oh my goodness, hold on, give me a day if you can." And she found university professors and students, and they teamed up and are now doing the lead documentation for the school systems, which is awesome because they get lead project experience. There's oversight for the professors, and it's just really working out very, very well. And it's cheap or for the school system. So a lot of great ideas from Lisa. Thank you, Lisa. On to the branches. Jason McLennan from the Cascadia chapter, which is the largest chapter in the USGBC network, led this discussion. And they do a ton of partnering with other organizations in the region. In fact, they have even a larger umbrella over the chapter, the Living Building Challenge, or Living Building Institute, I think. And with that is the USGBC Cascadia chapter, as well as Natural Step and others. So there's a lot of partnership development. They do joint content, intellectual property sharing, and sharing of revenue. So lots of great things happening there. Excuse me. They're able to meet targets and go wider along their geography with all these partnerships and different branches. Their branches are farther apart, like one's in Seattle, one's in Portland. and how it works is percent of their membership they keep for budget and planning, but then most of the branches are just programmatic. They have taken the fundraising burden away from the branches, and it's only done by the head office. Colorado has a branch task force, so that's kind of another way to organize several branches. And both Colorado and California and Cascadia are on Salesforce. So I'm seriously looking at Salesforce as a backup for our database. And then on marketing and communications, we talked a lot about mission, brand awareness, and there are a bunch of resources that were listed on the extranet that we can go to. They recommended going and looking for the new Vimeo videos, like especially about green schools and stuff that we can download and use, like for our green carpet series, etc. There's new emerging professional materials, etc. For green schools, this was led by Jenny Widower. Colorado and Georgia are doing some great things. Philadelphia chapter has made green schools its marquee initiative. They offer free training for facility managers, free lead training for facility managers. In other discussions, like in PTAs or school board, one person said lead takes up a lot of oxygen in the room, so they actually often don't even talk about that. They just talk about whole green. In South Florida, they're actually having some issues about branches doing their own things and having their own green schools program, and there's no kind of overarching marketing branding program. One person shared that her chapter, her green schools program, is volunteer fueled, not volunteer driven. I kind of like that. The Green Schools Symposium listed 10 actions. I'm not sure I got all of them, but there was a point that volunteers like events, but they encouraged the Green Schools Committee to try to get out of that rut. They encouraged them to go outside the chapter for committee members, from parents and teachers, etc. Make sure the chapter knows what is going on so it's communicated out. Maybe hosting a Green Schools Service Day in 2012. They're going to maybe try to do this nationwide. Or even consider a service series. One chapter was doing a worm bin building day, and then they went on to doing a rain barrel building day. So that sounded pretty cool. There is a project called No Impact Project. It came from the No Impact Man book. Apparently there's a 5-day curriculum, K through 12, that a couple chapters are doing and just using. So that's something that maybe this chapter can do and get it done in all 11 of our counties and school districts. So that's it on the speed greening part of the chapter forum. I learned a lot. Thanks.